Hi, this is Kathy Goodwin, and today we're going to talk about some ways you can expand your JV opportunities. JV stands for joint venture, and when I work with clients and when I've done these videos, a lot of times we talk about when you should say no, because if you've been in business any amount of time, and especially as you begin building your list and getting known for what you do, people will approach you and invite you into joint venture opportunities. So in the past, we've talked about saying no, but here I'd like to talk about how you can think of saying yes, and I'll explain why that's important. First, where do we get this? Well, I've taken a lot of improv classes. I've been in shows with improv acting. Improv means that you and at least one other person, your scene partner it's called, or scene partners, you're on stage but you don't have a script. You work with a suggestion from the audience. You never rehearse, you never do the same thing twice, you simply respond to whatever you've got. And then what's important about improv is the idea of yes and you hear it a lot. It's sometimes misused when people discuss it outside of improv. But here's what happens. Let's say we're doing a scene together and my scene partner greets me and says, I see Sergeant Smith, I see that you've just got a promotion in the U.S. Army. Well, I don't turn around and say, no, I'm not a sergeant. I'm not any part of anything military. I'm a nun or I'm a princess. Instead, what I do is take that suggestion and decide how I'm going to use it. Maybe I want to be a tough, macho sergeant, or the first female sergeant who's, landed on the moon or something, or maybe I want to be a really scared sergeant who really wants to escape and go home. So any of those are possible or more, but the key is that I look at the suggestion, and I, instead of saying no, which I'm very tempted to do a lot of the time, I say, okay, how can I work with this? How can I make this contribute to the scene? So in a similar way, joint venture opportunities, you get lots of offers. Let's take a look first at what they are. Joint venture opportunities mean that there's a mutual benefit between two or more companies or entrepreneurs, divisions, anything like that. One way to do that is interviews. I do this a lot, where I'll be interviewed or I'll interview someone who has a different audience. We both have a similar market, but this gives me a chance to reach someone different, and it gives them a chance also to gain wider exposure by being interviewed. I love interviews also because they give you a chance to show what you know, whether you're guesting or hosting, and make a really strong impression on your listeners. Affiliates are the simplest way to do a joint venture. So let's say you see a product that I'm selling and you say, Kathy, I want to sell that on my website. Can I be your affiliate? And that means that I'll pay you a commission every time you make a sale of my product. There's all kinds of ways of doing that, which are beyond the scope here. We can do a product together. So let's say I have my phenomenal writing skills and you have a phenomenal list. We can make a deal where I'll write the product. It'll go out as both of ours, and it'll be jointly ours, or both of our names will be on it, and we'll split the profits. That does happen from time to time. These are extremely powerful methods to build your list and generate leads for your business. One of the most powerful, in fact. So what do you do when you get invitations and offers? Well, there's lots of opportunities to say yes, and there's other opportunities to say no because. And a lot of times our first inclination is to say no because, even if we're not booked solid. And let's take some examples and look at those. For instance, let's say you're a psychotherapist and you get invited by a career coach who says, well, I have a good list for career coaching, and I would like to interview you for my list about career change. Now, your first response might be to say, no, I'm not a career coach, I'm a therapist. But if you think about it, your yes and response might be, because, that's a pretty good audience. A lot of people in career change. My first website was about careers. I still work with career changers. And I can tell you, a lot of them do see psychotherapists. So it's a great market to access if you're a therapist. So you could say, I could talk about the stress of career change or how career change affects family life. So I'm going to do the joint venture, but I'm going to see how I can make that work with my skills, interests, aptitudes, and personality. Or let's say example 2, you're a business coach for medium-sized businesses, and the people you work with have been around a while. They're not, they don't have like just one client or two. They've been around, and someone comes and says to you, I'm doing a promotion targeting really people who are starting out, and I see you've got some neat products, and could you give me one of your products that I could use as an upsell, or maybe something I could give away. And of course that would link to you and you would get exposure. Now your first response might be, oh no, this product is for new business owners. That's not part of my core message. So don't use my affiliate link. I'm not going to share any products with you. Well, the problem with that is that some of the people who are on this list will actually be your clients. And here's why. Your yes and response might be, well, some people in my target market will be promoting this book because some of the people in your target market are working with newbies and they have access to them and they're going to recommend your book. And it's not a lot of work to, in this case, to put your product out there and have a link to it. And, who knows? Example 3 is, let's say, and this happened to me actually recently, that a business owner with a very small list asked to interview me. And when I started, I was the same way. I would be asking people. Now, the first inclination that I had myself was to say, no, it's not worth my time. It's a small audience. But then I thought, well, okay, she is a good interviewer and she'll make me look good. So I will do it if I could choose the questions and I get full non-exclusive rights to the replay. What that means is I can then take this recording and I can use it on my website to promote myself, because an interview is a great way to showcase your skills because someone is asking you questions. You can brag in a good way. If you've been around a while, I like the word brag. You can promote yourself without sounding sleazy because you're just answering questions. That's all. And you can get a lot of information across quickly. So another example, let's say you're a pretty left brain business coach and someone who's a really strong mindset coach who's is going to be a great interviewee, and that he's got an audience and a following, and he says, would you interview me? And your first reaction is a fast no. My clients hate that woo-woo stuff. But hey, he's an awesome guest who will entertain my listeners. Maybe I can get him to talk about how he built his business in a crowded market. So what we've done is we haven't just said, sure, yes. We've said yes, and we've molded that offer to fit the way we could best incorporate it into our business, just as an improviser will mold their verbal offer on stage to fit into the way they see the scene going and the way they want to work with it with their own comfort zone. So when to say no, you don't say yes to everything. Let's say when there's a low return on investment for commitment of time and money. Notice in the case of the person with offering an ebook they'd already written, then hey, it's no big deal to say, sure, go ahead and use it. And if I get something, fine. If not. It's like 5 minutes. And if you've got a VA, he or she will do it for you. So if you have to go out and create something new and the probability of getting a response is pretty slim, then obviously you want to think about that. Or your appearance would dilute your brand. So let's say you're invited to a live event and that the market for that event is so different from yours, and maybe they want you to talk on a topic that's so different that if people knew and saw you doing this, they would really question what you were really in the business of doing, something totally different from what you usually do. Or you don't believe the potential partner delivers value. One example of that, there are some obvious ones, like if someone has something that is maybe promotes smoking and you are a health person, obvious, that's pretty obvious. But let's say something more realistic was the time that I was asked to interview someone who would have been a good interviewee, who had somewhat of a following. But this person had a program that categorized prospects. It worked with business owners who would categorize, so you could categorize your prospects into these different fields. I can't say too much without revealing the person. It's pretty unique, and it's a lot of people like it, but it's totally against everything I do because I am totally opposed to putting things in categories. I don't think this particular approach works. It's very hard to write copy after you've been through this categorizing approach. So I don't want to do it. I really don't believe that this person, who is very nice and very friendly and very approachable, I don't think that person is going to deliver value. So if you want to take some next steps, that's my link to when to say no to a JV offer on top. I have a freebie, Action Branding. The second one, that's how to build your brand and get close to your clients. And then if you want to talk about your copy and you want to talk about how we could make your copy better in a session, then click on the third link, budgetworld.com, copy plan, and we'll talk about how we can maybe plan how you're going to incorporate joint ventures into your marketing. A lot of times, I can tell you, if you're trying to decide whether to accept a joint venture or whether to reject it, a lot of times when we go to write the landing page, the answer becomes glaringly obvious. Another way that I work with clients is this. Suppose you have a couple of products or even giveaways that you know would be really good to offer. So if someone calls you up and says, hey, I'm doing a promotion, would you like to contribute something? It's good to have a couple of landing pages already in place with some freebies ready to go, so you can really just be out there in no time. And that's something that we can set up. If you're really busy, I can help you do it yourself if you want to, but if you're really busy, I can actually do it for you. So those are some things to think about in terms of what we can do next. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to meeting you on a future video and hopefully in a one-to-one consultation where we'll talk about how your business, your website can be much more productive, get more clients. And these ways often are very surprising. Just a few tweaks a lot of times will totally transform your website, your marketing materials, and ultimately your results. Thank you so much. Have a great day.